Our Albertsons shoppers donate to Goodwill because it's convenient and they always get a receipt.
I donate to Goodwill because Goodwill keeps things like computers out of our landfills.
I donate to Goodwill because Goodwill turns gently used goods into jobs for people in our community.
I donate to Goodwill because when I give, Southern Nevada benefits.
Donate.
Donate.
It's easy to donate.
Shop and donate today. Pahrumps Goodwill is located in the former Ace Hardware building.
News 46 is brought to you by Comfort Hospice Care, where we give our patients and their loved ones peace of mind, knowing we provide the highest quality of care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, call 751-0349. News is also brought to you by Inspiration Senior Living, where we provide affordable elegance to Pahrump area seniors. Give us a call at 751-2300 and make an appointment to tour our community.
Tonight on News 46, one man is taken into custody after crashing his vehicle.
Sheriff Tony DeMeo speaks about budget cuts.
A detective talks about his campaign to be Nye County's top cop. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Rhonda Van Winkle and Jason Koblenz. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell. News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Monday, April 7th, 2014. I'm Rhonda Van Winkle.
And I'm Jason Koblenz for News 46.
Well, one man was taken into custody after crashing his work truck into the yard at CMA Cable Company on Highway 372.
Tonight's accident report is brought to you by Stovall and Associates. Don't expect insurance companies to have your best interest in mind. Stovall and Associates cares. Let us help you if you have been involved in an accident.
A single vehicle accident occurred on Highway 372 and Linda Street on Saturday night. According to reports, police and fire responded to a man who was said to have been sitting in his pickup truck bleeding profusely from the head. Upon arrival, they noticed that the gates to the back of the cable company appeared to have been smashed through. The driver and only occupant of the car had a large wound on his head. Medics attempted to stop the bleeding by putting a Band-Aid on his head to begin with. The man was arrested for driving under the influence. However, police had to place a bag over the man's head to stop the bleeding that was coming from several different areas. He was transported to Desert View Hospital, sustaining injuries as a result of this accident, and then subsequently transported to the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center after receiving medical treatment. No one else was injured as a result of this accident. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
Sheriff Tony DeMeo is worried about the proper handling of 911 calls after the Nye County Commissioners cut 6 emergency dispatch positions in Tonopah. The sheriff would like to have tests conducted before the May 1st change to see that things go smoothly.
They didn't mention anything about 6 cuts. And in fact, if you were there, or many reporters were, that didn't even talk about eliminating the captain's position either. But what we found out after we had the budget meeting, that without knowledge to me, they removed 6 dispatch positions and they removed the captain's position. So when Captain Beck was getting ready to retire, when we were looking to somehow fill that spot, I was told the funding was removed, and also we found out in a meeting that 6 dispatch positions removed as well, and they had this plan of consolidating dispatch. With the communication system. Now, I know a lot about communication. I sat down in 2003 and designed how it would work. Right now, it's what it was for a redundant system, not necessarily one that would take over completely for another dispatch position. Because what happens is you're going to, everything fails, and the plan they have now, I don't have a comfort zone with that. Probably about 5 years from now, if they had all the assets in place, if everything was in place the way it was designed to be, I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it.
To view the extended version of this interview, go to KPVM's YouTube page.
Several people have been taken into custody on Casey Street for drug-related crimes.
7 people were taken into custody from a residence located at 1270 East Casey Street. All of them are facing charges related to use and possession of drugs and/or paraphernalia. According to the Nye County Sheriff's Office press release, the street crime units obtained and served a search warrant at the residence. During the initial contact, residents on the property would not open the door. As members of the Nye County Sheriff's Office made entry, multiple residents scattered into different rooms, locking the doors with bolts, possibly in an attempt to slow down the search by deputies, according to the press release. The search revealed numerous prescription-only pills, approximately 10 grams of heroin, multiple sized small baggies, glass pipes, baggies, and methamphetamine residue inside those pipes. They also recovered a digital scale, razor blades, spoons, numerous hypodermic devices, tinfoil, lighters, and propane torches. All but one of the occupants showed signs of being under the influence of a controlled substance. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
The Senate has passed legislation to renew a program of jobless benefits for the long-term unemployed that expired last December. The White House-backed bill would retroactively restore benefits that were cut off in late December and maintain them through May. Officials say as many as 2.7 million jobless workers have been affected since the law expired late last year. If renewed, aid would total about $256 weekly, mostly going to men and women who have been off the job for longer than 6 months.
Oh, that's tough. Well, everybody, stay with us. We will have more local news right after this break.
Of the news is brought to you by Albertsons. You're in for something fresh.
Welcome back to News 46. Medical errors may contribute to illness and even death for hospitalized patients. Many of these errors come from miscommunication during the handoff. That's when patient information is communicated from one care provider finishing their shift to another beginning a shift. A new study examined ways to improve this handoff process. Catherine Dolph has more in this week's JAMA report.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
Depending on how long little Juliano is in the hospital, he and his parents may see a number of different physicians. Communicating information about a patient's treatment is typically passed from one physician to another at the beginning and end of each shift. That's called a handoff.
Miscommunications during these periods of handoffs do contribute to these high rates of medical errors that we're seeing.
We had issues with written communications between doctors at change of shift, with verbal communications, just the training of doctors, them being appropriately oriented towards teamwork and communication in general.
Doctors Amy Stormer and Christopher Landrigan from Boston Children's Hospital and co-authors developed several interventions hoping to improve the handoff process. They examined more than 1,200 patient admissions involving 84 resident physicians on 2 inpatient units at Boston Children's.
The intervention itself consisted of 3 main components. We had communication training for the residents.
Once they got up to the wards, we had them use a new set of verbal techniques to transmit information in the same way every time.
And instead of residents and interns completing separate handoffs, a team handoff was implemented. In one ward, a computerized tool was also integrated into the existing medical record system.
The doctors would then be able to use the computer to type in key pieces of information that we didn't want them to miss during the handoff process.
The rates of medical errors on the wards dropped off by about 40%. Rates of medical errors that injured patients in particular fell off by 50%.
We did not notice any adverse effects on provider workflow. They were able to still have time to spend with their patients, and the ways that they were talking with each other in verbal communication was improved as well.
This may mean better care for patients like little Juliano.
If hospitals work together and really develop these types of communication protocols, we think that really can lead to sustained improvements in patient safety and quality of care.
Catherine Dolph, the JAMA Report.
Study authors say this intervention is important given the increased frequency of these handoffs resulting from recent reductions in resident hours.
And thank you, Desert View Hospital, for that tip. The death toll from the last month's landslide in rural Washington state has risen to 33. 12 people are still missing. It all happened when a square mile of wet earth and rock rushed into the outskirts of the town of Oso in the North Cascade Mountains on March 22nd. The slide came from a rain-saturated hillside along the North Fork of the Stillaguamish River. Bodies were found in the debris, which is 70 feet thick in some places and an average of 30 feet over the disaster area.
Desert View Hospital is proud to introduce and welcome new services by Women's Health Association of Southern Nevada.
Desert View Hospital is introducing this quality group of women's services from Women's Health Services of Southern Nevada. We're excited to introduce women's services to the community, and they provide, such quality care. This community has needed a number of physicians, and this is another service that Desert View Hospital is going to be introducing. They'll be beginning the first week of May. I'll let them talk a little bit about it. But the hospital just couldn't be more pleased to introduce this service to the community.
You talking?
Sure. Hi, I'm John Martin. I'm the president of Women's Health Associates of Southern Nevada. And as Kelly said, we are going to start the first week of May providing women's health services for the Pahrump Valley and Southern Nye County. And we're very excited about it. We're going to rotate. We're a group of 31 physicians in Las Vegas in 13 locations, and we're going to rotate probably between 8 to 10 physicians out here, initially once a week, and then we'll try to respond to the demand that the community has. We will provide office gynecology and obstetrical services, and then we will also provide minor surgical procedures and outpatient surgical procedures here with Desert View Hospital. We're contracted with most insurances, so shouldn't be a problem for most of the residents of the area, and we're just very excited about the opportunity. I have Dr. Donna Miller, who's a colleague at Women's Health Associates of Southern Nevada, and then Dr. Sheldon Paul, and they're instrumental in helping us get this clinic established for our practice.
To view the extended version of this press conference, go to KPVM's YouTube page.
Nye County Sheriff's Department Detective Eric Murphy is campaigning for sheriff. News 46 caught up with the contender recently to find out more.
I decided to run because I had a lot of people come and talk to me within the sheriff's office that thought there just needed to be some changes, and they thought that me being young and my experience in emergency services, that I was the one that they thought I should try and run for sheriff, so that's why I'm running for sheriff.
Let's talk about your experience with emergency services.
Well, I moved here in 1978 when I was 4 years old. My parents moved us here, and in 1992, when I was 18 years old, I started with Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue as a volunteer fireman, and then I went through the ranks and became a lieutenant, and then got my EMT certificate and stayed with them until 2003, and then in 2003 I went and applied and got hired at the sheriff's office.
And so you've been working there, and you're a detective actually now at this point, right?
Correct. In 2003 I started the academy. Approximately 2005 I was transferred over to the K-9 division, was a K-9 handler for about 5 years, and then in 2010 I was promoted to a detective.
What's some of the changes that you would like to see made within the sheriff's department?
One of the things I'd like to see that I'm trying to push forward through my campaign is more of a working relationship between the other emergency services in Nye County, fire, EMS, the hazmat. Get a better working relationship where we can have more of a cohesive unit to work better together and serve the people of Nye County.
Some of the biggest concerns within the sheriff's office seems to be the budget. How would you handle that?
One of the things I'd like to do is, the budget is a huge issue, so I'd like to look at some avenues of trying to get money on our own. Maybe like one of the things I've been looking at is maybe put together where we can do it now with staffing levels. I don't think you'd be able to you wouldn't have to increase staffing levels, but for this one thing that I think we could do would be an interdiction team and go out on the state highways and run interdiction and find narcotics, drug money. There's a ton of drug trafficking going throughout the US 95 specifically, and I think that'd be a huge benefit for our agency.
And we'll be back with more news right after this break. Please stay with us.